Okay, we're going to look at the first phase now, the enhance phase, which is the important, like the break shot in a game of billiards. It's a very important kind of beginning step. The first thing is the objective of the enhance phase, and for the whole of this section of the transformation, is to create space and opportunity for yourself. When I drive my car to Bredar, I do have a goal to get to Bredar, yes I do, but when I'm actually driving my car, my actual kind of tactic is my strategy maybe to get to Bredar, but my tactic is to avoid every other car on the road, to avoid all the limits. And so I'm using the two in tandem here. So you can see with enhance, the enhance objective of the enhance is to try and clear out as many of the obstacles to the change or the transformation that you would prefer as possible. So that's, I hope that clears it up.
Yeah. The curious thing is that I changed my driving style according to you.
Yeah?
Yes, I did. Because I remember I used to be, 20 years ago, the kind of guy who in the city, you know, was trying to speed and get there as fast as I could and what's the shortest way. And then you once showed me, well, we can take a way that's a bit longer, but it's safer and it doesn't involve a lot of stopping. You just keep on driving. So I thought, wow, that's smart, because it's a lot more relaxing. Yeah. So now when I drive to work in Breda, I go on the right side, I do an average of 100, and I know I will get there on time, and I don't need to do all that fuzzy stuff. Yeah. So that feels more like an evolutionary approach.
Yeah. Yeah. And you go through all the countryside as well.
Exactly.
Rather than the motorway. Yeah?
Exactly.
Yeah. Okay, so the enhanced phase then is about it's your break shot. It's the vital break shot in the billiards. The critical first actions can contribute to the butterfly effect that we've talked about. Essentially, you go where you look. So don't look for trouble. If you look for trouble, you'll see trouble. You know, if you're in a car crash, you don't look at the things that the obstacles that you might hit. You look for space. And all military drivers and security drivers are trained, look for space. If you look for space, you go where you look. So it's the way you look at the situation. If you look for problems, you'll see problems. If you look for opportunity, you'll see opportunity. So there's a mindset thing as well involved in the enhance phase. And we would say apply appreciative intelligence. It's like, look up Cooper Ryder, appreciative inquiry. Beautiful, beautiful way of looking at things. So apply appreciative intelligence and a win-win attitude. That means when I win, you win. And if, rather than, you know, when I win, you lose. Win-lose is not, I don't think is a long-term good strategy to apply. Try a win-win. And we're going to show you a couple of things we got from the internet which are beautiful for that, to show you that. So that's the appreciative approach. You see, you can look at what you don't have, look at the whole, look at what we're missing, or you can look at, hey, wow, look at what we've got, look at what we've done. So that's look at the things that are good. What's good about the system? What gives it its life? What are we great at? Okay, and start applying that to yourself as well. Start thinking about what are you actually really good at? You know, what's good about the situation as well as what's bad about the situation. So what can we appreciate about it? And the other one is win-win-win. Lose, two donkeys pulling against each other. Nobody gets anything, and then one of them gets a bright idea. Let's work together. You know, if we go over together, then you get some, and then I get some, and then we both finish it that way. That's a beautiful illustration of win-lose. And back on the enhanced mindset, we've got lots of things here. How do you actually start to manage this? Well, first thing to note is people do not resist their own ideas. If you're in a change management program and you're having to deal with resistance, it means that people didn't contribute to that particular idea. You didn't involve them at the very beginning. So it's really important that you involve people. If you don't involve people, they don't commit. You don't get full commitment. So first thing to do in a change program would be change the reward system, reward people to work together and cooperate. That's the first thing. And then put them together. Okay? And then pick the people and put them together.
I want to give a small example from Ricardo Selmer in Brazil. 25 years ago, there were a lot of complaints about the canteen and the food in the canteen. Now, what did he do? He asked the workers using the canteen to decide for themselves what kind of food do you want, which chef do you want to be cooking it, deal with it. Well, eventually they got their own chef. Now, it's very hard to complain about food when you actually decided that that chef had to make it. So you take, you get commitment and you get no more complaints.
It's really simple. It's, people say empower the workers. That's not, because the workers, your company is already in the hands of the workers. It's already under their control. Come on, get real. So change the reward system, put the people together, open the information, open book management, give everyone the information they need to make the decisions they need to make. Open book, like in Semco, people know what the manager is making. They know what everyone's getting paid. Look up Semco Brazil, Ricardo Semler. Fantastic example of this stuff in practice.
And last May, I noticed at Zappos.com in Las Vegas, they have a computer model now that is following all people's interactions and actions. So you can check on a daily basis who's talking to whom, what they're doing, and it's all made visible, it's all transparent. Because they realize that from those interactions they can learn together, well, how can we now structure this better to make it work better for all of us? So very smart system.
Yeah. No, sociometry.
Yeah.
Sociometry Marino, look it up. Very interesting. Third point then on this one is expect hits. So Mike Tyson said, everybody's got a strategy until they get hit. So in other words, expect hits. That's the perturbation phase. That's the phase that you're expecting. So you work out, what are we going to do? Not if, but when. How are we going to deal with failure? What are we going to do when people screw up? Are we going to fire them? If you do, don't expect people to experiment. They'll all stay within the comfort zone, and so on. So it's very important for a company to understand perturbation is an inevitable part of the process. Success itself is built on failure. And anyone who's successful knows that. Every champion knows it's about hitting the ball, getting up at 5 o'clock in the morning and hitting the ball 3,000 times before breakfast until your hands bleed. That's what makes Tiger Woods able to hit the ball 300 meters in a very good line. Success is built on failure. That's built on all the things that didn't work. So it's the attitude to failure and punishment and rewards in the system and in the values of the executives. It's really important that you understand failure is inevitable, and you learn more from failure than you do from success, actually, and so on. But also, you're expecting perturbation, but you're also expecting outcomes of attract and excite as well. This is the point you were making, Joe. So you're also looking to recognize opportunity and recognizing, hey, wow, that's an interesting idea, or this guy's got a really weird kind of approach. Let's have a listen to him. What's he got to say? Maybe he can teach us something we don't already know. So rapid recognition of new outcomes also is very important these days. You've got to have the information, you've got to have an open network. Andy Grove from Intel, the old CEO of Intel Corporation, he used to eat in the canteen with everybody, and that's where he got all his good information. With me, I used to be a heavy smoker. I gave up 15 years ago, fortunately. Outside the building where all the smokers hang out, that's where I used to hang out with the director's secretary, some of the directors, the guys from the trade union, the marketing guy, the production guy. We were all the same. We were in the smoking club. And as a consultant, I used to get a lot of my information outside in the smoking group. Okay, so it's basically, it's picking up information about the way what's actually really happening in the organization. The next point is basically to do with your own attitude. You teach people how to treat you. Remember that. If people treat you well, you deserve it. If people treat you badly, you deserve it. So you've got to actually, it's empowering for you to actually to know this. These are about your own personal attitude. The way you handle conflict can build trust and respect. And that's particularly true in difficult situations. Like if you went to jail, the way you get respect in jail is by being able to defend yourself. The way you handle conflict is an opportunity for you to demonstrate your character. When you meet a shark, don't act like it's dinner. So don't run away from that kind of stuff. Face up to it. Don't act like it's dinner. If you swim away from a shark, he'll go after you. Don't run away from a bear. Another one is put your energy into what you're for, not what you're against. Walk away. Remember win-win? Walk away from the stuff that, is not, that you don't have to be right, basically. As an entrepreneur, I don't get paid for being right. So put your energy into what you're for, not what you're against. Don't start your sentences with yes, but. Try starting your sentence with yes, and. That's a good rule. And then finally, we just like to say, life doesn't give you what you want. This is goals. Life doesn't give you what you want. Life gives you what you're prepared to accept. If you're prepared to accept failure or second best, that's what life will give you. That's an evolutionary view. Giving you what you want, your goal, that's a revolutionary view. Giving you what you're prepared to accept or not prepared to accept, the limits, that's the evolutionary perspective, hopefully put into practice.
I wanted to throw in an example from a French company called Favi. And Favi makes automotive parts. And it's actually the only company in France, still in France, that didn't move to China or Vietnam, that is producing these parts. And the interesting thing is that the management of Favi has and had as a long-term goal, how can we keep working in this region for the next 100 years? How can we make certain that our staff and their children and the region benefits from having us here? So they're working with that kind of mindset. The mindset was not, well, what do we need to do when the market squeezes us out? Oh, well, we need to go to a country where wages are cheaper or lower. No, the mindset is appreciative, is what you're for. Let's stick around and do this for our company and for its employees.
Yeah. It's also called framing. It's how you frame a situation. If you look for problems, you'll see problems. So the way you frame something is really important. But the point here is life doesn't give you what you want. Life gives you what you're prepared to accept. You're always in control of it. Don't quit. Don't give up on it. That's the point, really, I think. So how you see it. Okay.